Hello and welcome to the last word on Spurs.
And you don't stop. Don't stop. Sorry, Rick. I was just getting into the groove there. Carry on, it's your show.
We are your award-winning Tottenham Hotspur podcast, and we return on the back of Tottenham Hotspur thumping and thrashing Manchester United by 3-0 at Old Trafford. Many were saying that had been coming. We've been waiting a while for that. Is that Ange Postecoglou's eureka moment? We shall see on this show. Returning Crazy Train instructor, conductor, the runner of our Crazy Train, Lee McQueen is back. Mac, how are you, my man?
I'm back, mate, and so is this.
For the few of us being copyrighted, it's happy days here from Macca. It's happy days here from Macca in the background.
All this doom and gloom. Brennan Johnson selling his absolute rubbish. That's 4-4 for the bad boy. And I'm telling you, Big Dom, what's the Kane replacement now? I'm the guy that's talking about how we're selling Harry Kane. Big Dom's in the house. We've just gone to Old Trafford and ripped them a new one, torn them a new one. And I am loving it. My man Vicario as well, always worth a shout out. What an absolute storming game. Rick, no moaning today, my boy. No moaning today. Let's go.
Oh, man, we're going to enjoy that. Patty is on his way. The wonderful Patrick Tyrant's logging on in a second or two. Also on the panel. Oh, we've been due a win like this for a while, haven't we? The wonderful Richard Crackers. Cracknell returns. Crackers. Isn't that just lovely? Isn't that just lovely?
Yes.
Being able to celebrate a win like that. Talk about a win like that.
It was. It absolutely was. And nice little glass of red on the go. Manchester tears. Look at them. Drink them in. That was unbelievable today. Fantastic. Listen, the press will tell you all this week, the radio stations and the written press, they're going to say to you about how terrible Manchester United was today. We're here to tell you that we made them look terrible today. We absolutely tore them a new one. Everything and everyone hit their straps today, and just perfect, absolutely perfect. Of course, Micky van der Ven, of course, Kulu, but Dominic Solanke today. We was talking off air, Rick, wasn't we? He is like a 11, 12 stone toddler. He really is. He's like a willful toddler. He doesn't stop. He pesters. He just breaks stuff up. He's just fantastic. The energy levels from him is just off the scale. I don't think he's a Kane replacement. He looks more to me like he's more like a Drogba player. He's just got that strength. He's just, oh man, love him. I want a man with a beard, or a woman, not with a beard, but in a white coat, a scientist, to work me out the stride length of Micky van der Ven on that first goal. When he intercepted that ball, I know we'll come on to it, and off he went. You normally said when he opens his legs, but that doesn't seem quite right either, does it? Once he started running, I'll tell you what, I'd open my legs for him if he could run like that and sort of runs. It's absolutely unbelievable. His stride length is insane. It must be 3-4 meters. It's just incredible. So somebody get their slide rule out, rerun it, measure on the telly, do your Pythagoras, and let me know what his stride length is. He is insane. Absolutely insane. Thank you very much, Tottenham. You've made an old man very happy today.
I love that. I really, really do. Now, guys, before we get into the whole show, look, bit of housekeeping here. We have to remind you that Last One of Spurs are finalists in, of course, the upcoming Football Content Awards. Finalists for the second season in a row, if you want to put it like that. And look, we're at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. You guys have the opportunity to help us lift the trophy in our own stadium. Macca, tell them why. Tell these wonderful, beautiful people why they need to help us get over the line and help us lift the trophy. Please, Macca, please. Tell them why.
Like, guys, team, you've been absolutely incredible. We can't do this show without you. You know that. It is your reward as much as it is any of ours on the panel and the hard work that Rick puts in. But it is at home. It is a stadium that can erupt with a trophy being held aloft by ourselves. And we cannot do that without you. Please go on to X by tweeting, I am voting in the FSAs for @LastWordOnSpurs for the best podcast in Premier League. We got there last year, but second to Liverpool in Anfield. I mean, you could not make this stuff up. And what we want to do now is we want to go one better and win, get the gold medal at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. Let's do it, team. Come on, vote, vote, vote. We don't ask for much. We don't ask for likes. We don't ask for subscribes, but we are getting our begging bowl out for you all to vote for us as the best podcast. We will pay you back in absolute content galore when we win at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium.
Michael, thank you so much. And Crackers,
Rick,
just remind them why we need these votes. Remind them why.
Listen, right, I'm going to call a little group therapy here for us and all the listeners, all right? I'm going to hire a church hall and get a circle of chairs, all hold hands and close your eyes. Now imagine smug Robbie Lyle with that horrible little smug smile he's got going up on stage and lifting that award, first place in our stadium, and that horrible little smile he's got. Imagine that. See it in your mind. You've got the power to do something to stop that, where Ricky Sachs goes up to lift the cup. When Sachs goes up to lift the SFA Cup, we'll be there. We'll be there. Come on. Listen, get voting. We cannot have that lot lifting the trophy at our place. We've seen it too many times. Vote Last Word on Spurs. Thank you very much. Come on. Come on. Come on.
Love it, boys. Right, Patty's on his way. Guys, it is time to get into the game. And what a game it was for Spurs. Beating Manchester United 3-0 at Old Trafford. And in what style it was. If I can, Cracks, I'm going to come over to you to open up this show. Look, a fantastic victory for Tottenham, who win away at a Big Six side for the first time under Ange Postecoglou. Spurs were brilliant, both in and out of possession. Of course, the incredible highlight of that game had to be that assist of Micky van der Ven, who just kept on running and running. But don't forget the amazing assist from Dejan Kulusevski as well in that game. And also the finish from Dejan as well in that game. Absolutely incredible. Just how big a win is that, Cracks, for Ange Postecoglou in his tenureship so far at Spurs? Because I joked off here, I said at the start of his show, is that his eureka moment potentially?
Well, let's hope so. That's exactly what we needed, what he needed. We needed to go there. At the start of the season, Rick, when we was talking about this upcoming season, we said progress looks like going to places like Old Trafford and getting results, going to Stamford Bridge and getting results, Anfield and getting results. Even if those are draws, if you're going to places where we normally get our asses handed to us on a plate, if you can go there and get something, that's progress. I mean, that's really going to, give the boys so much confidence. It really will. Yes, Man U are in a bad place, but they're the home team. They're a good crowd at Man United, despite what you might or might not think of them. They don't generally turn on their own. They will give managers time and players time. And they stuck behind them today generally. But we just made them look second place all over the pitch. And more than that, not just the nature of the win. When we had those moments it was literally on the hour. It was about 61 minutes. And they got to a point of, well, we've got nothing to lose here. And they started to gain a little bit of momentum, a little bit of an ascendancy. And the crowd got behind them. We actually managed the game out there as well. We became compact. We were tight. We wasn't sloppy. We never buckled, which is things that we can normally see. Because, you can bet your bollocks to a barn dance. If one goes in, then the wobbles start, don't they? But we that never happened. So not only the nature of the win, it was the nature of what we'd done, the maturity of when we was under the cosh for about 10, 12 minutes until that next goal went in, and then it was game over. So we actually managed it really well. Ange has started tweaking a couple of little things as well. Kulu through the middle, some of the substitutions. some of the moments in the game, we just look a little bit tighter and we tuck in and we drop off a little bit. So these are the tweaks we was talking about. And we're managing. We look like we're managing games well. And when we are in the ascendancy, wow. So everything today was just on point. You know, the tide going in and the tide going out. We were on it. We were absolutely on it today.
We were. It was a magnificent performance. Patty, to bring you in. Love you back on the show. Spurs are now within 3 points off the top 4. And Ange Postecoglou has taken more points from his first 3 league matches against Manchester United than any other Tottenham manager in Premier League history. We spoke about it beforehand, Pat, just how important this victory could be for Spurs in terms of a time where momentum could be built. We've got games coming thick and fast. Just how big a win is that, Pat? You've been calling to see a statement win away at a toxic club. I was really intrigued to know just how big that win could be for Spurs. And we just lost Pat there for a second. I'll go to Macca on this. Macca, you know, you spoke a lot on this show about the need to go away to, you know, dare I say big teams, but teams away from home, putting dominant performances. We know the away form hasn't been great. Therefore, on that basis, how big a win is this for you?
That's massive. I mean, we played the game today and not the occasion. And when I talk about that, I think all Spurs fans know that typically Tottenham, we tend not to go over the line in certain big games against the big six or whatever it might be because we play the team, the name, the Old Trafford, the crowd. You know, to score after 3 minutes or 2.5 minutes, silence the crowd. I think we was on top. I mean, I agree with everything Cracker said. You know, I've been one to to back what the manager's doing. I think we've been very good all season. I remember being on the show with us four actually after the Leicester game, and it was very raw because we didn't beat Leicester, but we were excellent that game. We just couldn't put them away. Same with Newcastle, we just couldn't put them away. I think Arsenal's slightly different, if we're honest. They come and done an amazing job on us with regards to an away performance. Was very good, and we don't like giving them credit, but that's the reality. You know, we absolutely tore Brentford a new one last week. We tore Everton a new one, and people would then say, "Well, it's only Everton. Oh, it's only Brentford." And now we've done it to United away from home. And let's be honest, Rick. You know, our away form has been pretty woeful. I mean, we struggled against Coventry, all the stuff that you're going to bring up stats, but we've gone there and done it. And now people will say, "Yeah, but," you know, when everyone ever says that. You know, negativity is coming out their mouth. Yeah, but Lee, it was only United. They're not very good. You know, the reality is it's a full house. It's a Super Sunday game. Half the Man United and Liverpool fans are in the commentary box at Sky, and in the studio commenting on it. It's a massive game for Ten Hag today. Huge game for Ange because there's a lot of there's a few murmurings about Ange, but. You know, you look at the statistics, you look at what we've done, and they're going to be a bit skewed because of the 10 men. I get that, but like everything Cracker said, we were just on top. The only major criticism I've got, and I don't want to dig anyone out, but it's Werner, and I'm sure we'll come on to him. But I mean, come on, exactly, mate. That's spot on the money. He's got to be finishing both of these chances, and at this level. Yeah, you know, Cracker's said off air, to be fair to him, like he stretches play and he does, and you know, he's there for a thing. But both these chances have got to be put away at this level. And if he does put them away, we're looking at a 5-6 at Old Trafford, which is insane. But look, let's look at the absolute positives. I think that chances that we gave away today, the touches in the opposition box, as in our box, were terrible. I think they only had 2 shots on target themselves. Even before Bruno, sorry, I'm choking on his name there. Can't stand the bloke. But even when that nasty piece of work gets sent off, we were still well on top of the game. And to be fair, should have been put to bed before then. I just have to say something before we bring Patty back in, right? The amount of abuse that Brennan Johnson gets from little menial people, right, that are in this world makes me sick. And I'm so pleased for the lad. He's 22 years old, 23 years old. He's had a big money move and he has scored 4 in 4. He gets an assist, does he, today? I hope he does. I know it was a bit of a deflection, but absolutely, again, is it a post? He probably could have had a hat trick. And that is that is what character's all about. So I just want to say a massive shout out to Brennan Johnson. You know, the real fans, and I will say that, and I don't care. You know who you are. The people that are abusing players, racial abuse, making players feel like shit. Excuse my language, and that's not, but you know, it's just still early. It's just not on. It's not on. It's not in a normal person's makeup to do that. So I'm so pleased for him to get another one, and he's on flames, Ricky, isn't he? Let's have it right.
Yes,
The boy
is
is on flames, mate. So fair play to you, Brennan Johnson, mate. Fucking well done, mate.
Unbelievable. 4 goals, like I say, and an assist in there as well in his last 4 games. Can't ask for more than that. Pat, I want to come over to you. I think it's fair to say that this season we've been critical of Ange.
Let's go, son.
I think it's fair to say, Pat, at times this season we've been critical of Ange in terms of maybe not changing things up, not tweaking when needed to do so. But I've got to say, I think he coached an absolute superb, just alone, 40 minutes of football, beautiful in that first half. And definitely for me, I think the best I've seen from Ange Postecoglou in his Spurs tenure so far in terms of that first half alone, 11v11. And then to see out a massive win at Old Trafford, so many terrific performances within that excellent team display. I'm sure you'll say, Pat, on the back of that performance, one absolutely incredible, not just team performance, but from the manager as well. I mean, everybody with a win like that deserves all the credit, Pat. I'm sure you'll agree.
Yeah, fantastic. Can you guys hear me well?
We've got you. We've got you.
Loud and clear. Okay, brilliant.
We've got you.
Yeah, I just want to say what's up to everyone in the comments, everyone tuning in that watches this on the rerun. What a result, man. 3-0, clean sheet, away at one of the top 6 teams. Like, that was the statement win that we needed. That was the win that matched the performances. And, you know, we haven't been worried. All those guys on here, we've been worried that the performances aren't matching the results. But today, going into the game, you know, I put a tweet out saying, you know, once I saw the lineup, no Son, Timo Werner starting, I thought, oh man, we've lost this game before it kicked off. Just knowing that, you know, United had the boost, like no Sonny. When they see that lineup and they see no Son, that definitely would give them, you know, a feel-good factor, especially the fans. Son's so clinical one-on-one. And you just know that Werner, if push comes to shove one-on-one with the keeper, he will miss, or he will make that mistake in the final third. And he did that again today. But thankfully, we were so dominant, it didn't matter in the end. And so, you know, people will say that I'm being negative for calling out what exactly played out. But it's not really about that. It's about the performance from the lads. Brennan Johnson, the character and the resolve and the resilience that guy's shown, that kid's shown. Because like Lee said, to come through the adversity, the abuse, and to like, he looks like a £50 million signing now. Like, he's getting into the right places. The finishing is definitely improved. He's making the right runs. Solanke, that goal for me is the classic striker / centre forwards goal. Just being in the right place at the right time, making that run and slotting it in. And that's all it takes. And, you know, we've been crying out for someone in that 6-yard box, and the guy's there, presses from the front, just a mature performance from him. Maddison, again, looked like he was pulling strings, making players foul him. The red card, was it? In a way, of course, I'm happy that we got we actually got the rubber, the green on that. And I'm happy that Bruno Fernandes, someone I can't stand, got sent off. But in a way, I'm a bit annoyed because I would have rather it been 11 versus 11, because we would have still smashed them. I still believe it would have been a 3 or 4-0 with 11 versus 11, because they were nowhere near us. But that is now a talking point, and people will say, oh, the ref helped them out and all of that rubbish, but he didn't. Was it a red? Certain angles, it looks like it. Other angles, it doesn't. But, you know, with all that being said, we were just fantastic to a man. Jed Spence, again, no one will really talk about it, but when your Doji come off, you know, maybe there's a few concerns and worries from the fan base thinking, is the quality going to stay the same? And it did. Spence was fantastic going forward and defensively. And again, people have to remember that's not his side. He's a right-handed or right-sided, fullback, but he was slotted in on the left and looked just as good. And Kulusevski, someone who, again, as you know, from the summer, I said the guy's been fantastic, was my preseason player of the you know, for us. He's looked immense recently. He looks so skillful, silky, strong, picking the right pass, finishing. He can do it all, man. And I think Ange, like Lee said, has just tweaked things slightly, allowed Kulu to play down the middle centrally, allowed Maddison to drop deeper, pick up the ball. And we looked really good in all departments. And I think the thing is, against Arsenal, I know they scored on a set piece and it was such fine margin, so everyone focused on that. But defensively and on set pieces, we've looked a lot better. Yeah, what a brilliant player, man. So for those listening on the audio, Lee's got his
Incredible.
Kulusevski
Just to move him
shirt
century like
up,
that as
and
well. That's been a difference maker,
yeah,
isn't it?
yeah.
Moving him
I
centrally
think
is
he's
incredible.
so good, man. I think he's so good. He's such a good footballer. Some people moan about his lack of pace, but he doesn't need it. He's so intelligent. And
Wait, did you see?
I mean, there's so many things I could go on about. I thought, have I lost you guys? Am I still here?
Sorry.
You got
I was going to say, you said about his
So I was just going to say, you what? Sorry.
So you said about his lack. Some people moan about his lack of play. Did you see him roast?
Yeah. Some people moan about it.
Found him, man. I was like, here we go.
Come back in, Patty. Come back in there. I think Pat's on a little bit of delay.
Yeah,
Go for
he's
it, Patty.
brilliant. Oh, sorry if I'm on a delay. I'll come back out afterwards. But yeah, I think Mikey Moore looked fantastic as well. And I just think it's such good signs for us. I know, like I said, we're 8th, but it's so tight at that top of the table.
Of
and I
course.
still think now if we can start picking up results, we've got Brighton away. That's another toughie, but I think we can beat them. And then people will start. I think people now will start to see that Spurs do mean business. And we were unlucky against Newcastle. We were unlucky against Arsenal. But people say, "Oh, how unlucky can you be if that keeps happening?" Today, I think we put down a marker, and we just need to keep that going. Defensively, still.
We're gonna let Pat come back. We're going to let Pat come back in and come back out. Before we do, like I say, we'll just bring in the words of Ange Postecoglou, who has said, speaking of match of the day, I thought it was an outstanding performance. We started the game so well, scored a great goal and probably should have scored 2 or 3. The pressure then overwhelms the opponent and then they got the red card. After that, I thought we controlled the game ever so well. Just an outstanding effort from all of the lads. Micky van der Ven also talking to Sky Sports after the game directly, also very much in high praise for just the general team itself. Micky said we controlled the game. We knew the danger of their counter-attack, but our rest in terms of defence was so good. For the goal, I intercepted the ball. I saw the gap. I knew I had the opportunity. I just started to run. I knew Brennan is always at the back post. I couldn't see the ball going as I fell down the slope, but I heard the away fans. This is a tough game at Old Trafford. Performance-wise, we had started the season well, but we needed a win, and this is an almost important 3 points as ever. We have the quality to play with this intensity in every game. And I think that's a really interesting point that Micky makes, Lee, come over to you, because I think there has been questions as to whether how Spurs' play in general would be able to evolve under Ange. I think we're all calling for maybe a bit of a tweak to the system. And I think it's really important that we make this point that United may have been poor, but for everything, Spurs were so good. They were so excellent. Totally bossed the game at a hard place to go. I think what we can't undo as well is just mention Bentancur. This guy looking like he was pre-injury. Absolutely loving the way he was playing alongside Kulu in that free-ranging role now, as we see, almost in the freedom of number 10. And the way in which Spurs took the game to United, never let back at any point, were dominant, were relentless in their play. And many would actually say, Lee, I know you said as well, that Spurs have been pretty good for most of the season so far and just simply haven't got the results. So is that now the turning point where players do really now start to home in and believe and have that buy-in that we've been speaking about? Because that's one thing I would say in these last few weeks where there has been murmurings. I saw no players that haven't been brought into the system, haven't been, in any way not wanting to do the duties that have been asked from those players. Will that just further reinforce the point these players are following Ange's instructions?
Well, I think they have been the whole time, to be honest. I don't think there's ever been a situation where they haven't, as you just said. I think there's the murmurings maybe you're referring to is some of the fan base. But, that's fair enough. I mean, I think that just to echo what we were just saying about Decky, I think he's been absolutely outstanding all season. I'm so pleased for him to get his goal as well today. Sorry, I know we moved on from Decky, but I mean, he's been brilliant. He was brilliant for Sweden as well when he played for them in the international break. So he's been absolutely superb. I think today was a bit more of a confirmation. If there's anybody thinking, we're too open, and there's a lot of us have said that. Some of us on the show have said that we've been open, and you can't argue when you see some of the passes that have been going straight through the middle of us. And some cynics might say, well, if Fernandes don't get sent off, maybe Man United do that today. Well, they didn't, and they will never know because we just smashed them 3-0. I think that what's always been encouraging for me, Rick, is the fact that we've dominated games. And the thing is, I'm trying to choose my words carefully, right? So you're always in the Premier League. I said this to my father-in-law downstairs, right? you're always going to have a 10 or 15-minute spell in a Premier League game when you're on the back foot to a certain degree, because the Premier League is that good. You know, I was at the carrier bag. I think they said more there. I was at the carrier bag, as you were calling it, Rick, game the other night. And by the way, fair play to all the fans that went there, because the trains were absolute nightmare. The roads were a nightmare. I didn't get into 1 a.m. From that game. But anyway, so fair play to everyone that went there, and thanks for all the well wishes and all that great stuff. So much love, Rick, for last one, the Spurs players. So much love. But I was at the Carabao Cup, and it honestly in the stadium, it did not feel that they were going to score. I know Vic had made a couple of good saves. It just didn't feel to me like that we were under pressure at all, and we were 10 men. It felt like that today. There was an 8-minute spell. I want to be true to what it was. There's probably an 8-minute spell in this game today where they had 3 or 4 corners on the trot, a couple of handball shouts. You know, let's be honest about it. They were down at 10 men, 2-0 down. They're shouting for everything. You know, and it wasn't really handball shouts, although you'd have given that against us in the Champions League final, wouldn't you? Refs, yeah? Refs and linos, of course you would. Yeah, exactly. But other than that, like that 8-minute spell, and that's the thing, like, I think we're on the road. Honestly, it's what I think. I think we're on the road to a downer if anybody thinks perfection is in football. I mean, we saw that the other day with yesterday with Newcastle Man City. Like, he's come out, started talking about Rodri being such a massive miss and Rodri, and then they draw. Now, you know, he could have come out and said, no, Rodri's a great player and we're going to miss him, of course, we wish him all the best, but we've got, I don't know who he played in the midfield, but we've got Jack Grealish to come and he's going to be amazing. And maybe that's a different result. You know, I'm a massive believer in the way you start to manifest certain things. And us Spurs fans, all of us, are constantly waiting for it to go wrong. We're constantly waiting for the shit to hit the fan or whatever it might be. And, you know, we just got to enjoy the fact that we've just absolutely ruined Man United. And he might not get out of bed tomorrow, Ten Hag, for that. We might have just got him a sack, like they got Nuno a sack. Wasn't it a 3-0 away win that got Nuno the sack?
The old Sakiko.
Sakiko, wasn't it? You know what? Football's a funny old game, isn't it? So a great man once said. So you know, at the end of the day, I mean, coming back to the game, I think from an analysis point of view, I thought to a man on the pitch, we were excellent. Apart from, look, I don't want to go on Werner, but come on, man, you've got to score them 2 goals. You've got to put them 1-on-1 away. It's not Son, is it, versus Man City to hand Arsenal the league. Maybe Werner got confused. Maybe he thought that actually if he scored them, then maybe Arsenal would win the league. I don't know.
I've got to ask you, Crackers, about a player that has put the ball in the back of the net and one that we've been excited about, and you've obviously raved about him so far, Dominic Solanke. And Postecoglou just speaking in his presser after the game has said on Dom that he's overcome his crisis of confidence that lasted 180 minutes or so, and he led the line so well. We've got a vocal point up there in Dom. It attracts the attention of his teammates and defenders. It takes away from his teammates the way he plays. And it's funny because, you know, just to be clear, he was being sarcastic there, Ange, in his opening response about crisis of confidence. But isn't it lovely, Cracks, to have a forward? And we've missed about having someone like this that brings others into play. We've obviously had Harry here that done that so well. And Dom, although we didn't have Sonny for this game, as we know, he just offers a real different dimension that, you know, we've not had at the club for such a long time. And it's lovely to be able to have that presence as a centre forward to bring others into play, right?
Yeah, very much so. And he's very much an Ange type player as well. His work rate is unbelievable. He looks a good finisher. What he does, tracking back and breaking stuff up and just being a bit of a pest and but a cultured, very good pest, if you get what I mean. He's he'll put a foot in. Look, he's got huge shoes to fill, hasn't he? After these cane-sized shoes, so he's got that weighing on him. A big price tag as well, which sometimes can weigh like a millstone around a player's neck. He's also gone from Bournemouth to Tottenham. Now, I know that he was at Liverpool and he was at Chelsea, so he's been round some of the bigger clubs, but that can also have its effects as well. So all these things are feeding in. Then you've got our old friend social media. First couple of games, of course, you're going to be feeling your way in a little bit. New environments, new teammates, new play patterns, new everything. Moving house, wife and kids, all these things feed in. On social media, people are going, "What have we bought here after 90 minutes?" And you're like, "Mate, come on, we used to give people like 90 weeks. Now then it went to sort of 90 days. Now it's like literally 90 minutes. It's just it's bananas." But he's got settled. He seems a really decent guy as well. There doesn't seem to be any sort of a side with him. You know, he's settled. Just seems a settled, head screwed on lad. And he just looks perfect for us. Absolutely perfect. And I was loving his work today. Absolutely loving it. Everybody just brought their own brand of something to the game today. Maddison was on fire. And also just, you know, if it was a classroom, Maddison's the kid that keeps flicking the kid in front ear, isn't he? Like, sir, he's flicking me ear and getting away with it. You know, and then you got the cool kids at the back of the class with their feet up on the desk, but they get away with it because their results are good. And then somebody else brings something. The blends now within the team and the team spirit just seem to be right. You know, Romero just seems to be the lad that goes and takes the dinner money off of everybody, doesn't he? He does that. And then alongside him, Micky van der Ven brings a different type of defence. Kulu does something in midfield, and Maddison does this, and then Decky does that. So the blends and matches now just seem to be really working, and they all feed into Dominic Solanke, but just does a little bit of everything. Really, really good. Really good. I'm starting to get a little bit infused and excited for the rest of the season off of that. You know, it's maybe that's a little bit over exuberant, but that's what football fans do. But you can't help but think to yourself, I want to see the next game. I want the next game to come now. That's, you know, and if you're in that place as a football fan, then you're in a good place, aren't you?
You know, I want to say one thing on that, Cracks. You know, we have a lot of disgruntlement on here about the board, about, you know, whatever. And I want to make this point that if you can't enjoy a win for a win away at Old Trafford, when you go and absolutely dominate a game, in my opinion, definitely had his best 45 minutes in a half. And then in the second half, show that control, that ability to see out a game. Like, if you can't enjoy that and that doesn't excite you, then I'm not sure what we're in the game for anymore. Like, I'm not sure what we're fans for if we can't actually just take away everything that we have frustration about. Just enjoy a win for a win. We've gone to Old Trafford. We've absolutely dominated them. We've been without Heung-min Son, the captain. I think that's really important to make that clear. So look, I think lovely words so far. Before we do go for our first break,
apart from that as well, Rick, sorry, like even towards the end when we're 3-0 up and we made a couple of clearances, players high-fiving each other, like chest bumping each other for keeping the clean sheet. This is what you want to see. This is a team of lads all playing for each other, all playing for a manager that just seems to be making those little tweaks and little changes and changes of personnel at the right time just to go and shore little positions up. So it just seems to be this learning curve and learning progress between management and players, and everybody just shoving along in the same direction. If you can get all the elements of a club with the wheels turning in the same way, then you've really got something. It's just now up to the boys and girls upstairs to see those wheels turn in the same way, and just keep adding a little bit of oil into the system, you know, and backing it and nurturing it along. So yeah, there's the green shoots of something, Rick. I'm beginning to be converted.
Yeah, I think what's really important is, before we've been patting after this break, is that there'll be a lot in the media, in national media, in the next couple of days that are telling you Man United are absolutely awful. Oh, they're terrible. Ten Hag's got to go. I don't think there'll be anywhere near the coverage that there should be for the fact Spurs have gone to Old Trafford and won in what is, I think, one of the biggest and best wins of Ange's era so far. First away end win, big opponent, creating loads of chances, took enough of them as well. We should really have taken more. I think, if that game ended 4 or 5-0, none of us could have really complained. The fact Johnson and Solanke are scoring again is brilliant for them. Kulusevski again, he's been remarkable, I think, Kulu. I think, like I say, since the start of the season, that new role that we've said about a central role in number 10 has been great for him. And just the XG alone in that game, 4.67 against Manchester United. And when you look back at those first 4 fairly frustrating Premier League games, Spurs, I think, were better with and without the ball. I think that's really important that we make that point. Their creativity was there. And, they've won their last couple of games 3-1 and 3-0. And for the first time, I think we can all say that was a 3-0, 4-0, 5-0 game. And you can see what Spurs are trying to do. So please get excited. I will make this point. If you can't get excited after going away to Old Trafford and beating Man United, what are you here for? So what we are going to do, we are going to squeeze
Rick,
in.
Sorry to break up your break once again. All I want to see now is Ange come out and just say to whoever interviews him for like Spurs TV or whatever, just turn around and go, mate, it's Man United. And just shove that, like it's Tottenham, right back up their pipe. I'd love to see that. If he that's all he needs to come out with, that one line, and then that just kills what went before with Fergie, doesn't it? Kills it stone dead.
I totally agree. I totally agree on that. We are going to squeeze in our first break of the show for our listeners and audio. We've got nearly over 4,000 of you that are watching us live. As always, thank you so much for all your incredible support for Last Win on Spurs. For those that missed it at the start, I'm sorry, guys, to keep reminding you. We're going to give you one more reminder on here that we are delighted to be finalists in the upcoming FCA Football Content Awards. You can help us lift that trophy at the Tottenham Spurs Stadium. You can hit that QR code on your screen. For those that are listening on audio, you can follow the link in the description. Patty, I'm going to come round to you. Pat, you made the point, actually, before the game, how concerned and nervous you was by that starting 11 that Spurs did field. Of course, they were without Heung-min Son. And just to bring that into play, Son came up with a hamstring injury in Spurs' 3-0 win against Karabakh in the Europa League. And the South Korean star obviously had not been past fit for this game. In his place can Timo Werner, with a German attacker needing to improve on, and some inspiring cameos so far. We'll be coming on to his cameo during this game for sure, though Macca's already had an opinion on it. So for Spurs, barring Son back in action, they had Will Lancashire and fellow academy youngster Micky Moore on the bench to boost Ange's numbers. That team read Vicario Porro Romero, Van der Ven, Doggy Kulusevski, Benson Cole Maddison, Johnson Solanke, Werner, with a bench of Forster, Dragoshin, Spence, Gray, Saar, Basuma, Bergvall, Moore, Lancashire. Now, we ask a lot on this show, as you know, Patty, for fast starts. And my God, we got a fast start. It was 4 goals in 4 games for Brennan Johnson. It started with a great interception from Micky van der Ven, snapping into a tackle, then charging, absolutely charging, 50 yards up the pitch, putting it across the 6-yard box superbly for Johnson to slam home before the 3rd minute mark. Is that just, quite frankly, Pat, the best start we could have had at Old Trafford, given the fact that you mentioned that point? We go into the game with obviously our captain, Heung-min Son.
Yeah, that made me nervous seeing Werner start ahead of Son, because I thought the game would be a lot tighter and we'd have a couple chances, and they fall to Werner. He's not clinical, as we all know, and Sonny is. And Sonny, you can bet your bottom dollar that he will convert one of the chances. Werner, I'm not so sure. But thankfully, that didn't really matter because, like I said, we were just good. I mean, when I looked at that starting lineup, every single person other than Werner fills me with confidence. Every single person, you know what you're going to get from them. And I think Micky van der Ven doing what he did on the big stage, everyone watching, the last game of Super Sunday, if you didn't already know, you really know how complete of a player he is. He's great at reading the game, sweeping up, cleaning up, fantastic in the tackle, hardly puts a foot wrong. But now he's added that offensive element to his game where he can charge forward at speed, dribbling, and then find the right, way to pass. And yeah, I mean, he's fantastic, man. I think now he's clearly one of the best centre-backs in the Premier League, if not Europe. He's really added an extra element to his game and he looks assured. And you can really question now who's a better centre-back out of Romero and Micky van der Ven. I don't think you're going to get, weird looks if you ask that. I think he's brilliant. And I can understand why Sky would give him man of the match because of that. But I think Kulusevski, he just made things tick. And he was that extra spark in the final third. But yeah, so happy as well. And I don't know if you can see that, but I've got if it zooms in.
Fantasy
Dominic
points.
Solanke,
Fantasy
I
points.
captained him today. I knew Solanke would have a good game. I just felt it, and he should have had 2. Really annoyed in the 90th minute.
Yeah,
He didn't
yeah.
slot that away. But
Yep.
yeah, Solanke's looking good. I think that he's really starting to feel at home, and I just think, I mean, Mickey Moore coming on looked really good, and I just think that was a perfect performance from all 11, 12, 13, 14, 15 of them. Udogie looked fantastic. I hope he's okay, but Jed Spence filling in.
Yep.
I'm really happy that, Ange has allowed Jed Spence to have that role on the left-hand side. Really frustrated that he's not in the European team or squad, but obviously that will hopefully keep him fresh for, the games in the Premier League. And if Udogie is out, we all feel confident with Jed Spence playing that role. Going forward and defending, he was brilliant. Vicario looking more assured as well. No one's really going to talk about it, but he looks much better, in his box. He looks more controlled on the ball. A few tweaks there, so he looks more confident. There was a time when they got in behind and they had a chance or a shot on goal, and it was quite close. I think it was, I remember who it was from their side, and you saw him going nuts at his defenders. I like that about him. He's not scared to have his say, and I just think all to our man, we are brilliant, and
We were.
you can't really ask for more than that. I think the referee kind of lost control of the game a bit. Some of the yellow cards he gave us were crazy considering, but I'm really happy that for once, away from home in a big game, he sent off one of their players, because there's so many times where we have a dodgy decision and it goes the other way and they get away with it. But, other than that 10-minute period, probably from like the 60th, 63rd minute onwards, where they looked like they were in the ascendancy and they had a couple of corners and you could hear the crowd getting behind them. Other than that, we were in control. And even then, we didn't wobble, we kept the clean sheet. And then after that, it was pretty much, we were, at any time we went forward, we could have scored. So I'm just really pleased, man. I'm really pleased for all of them. Really pleased for Solanke. Really pleased for Brennan Johnson. And really pleased for the defenders like your Pedro Porros, your Destiny Udogies, your Romero's, keeping a clean sheet. That means a lot.
That's fantastic.
And hopefully
Confidence,
we can build
isn't
off
it?
of that. Yeah,
Such a confidence boost. Such a
you
confidence
don't
boost.
see them as shaky on corners or when they're passing back to each other, because they just have that belief now that we can keep clean sheets. That's 2 in a row. Obviously, one in Europa, 1 in the Premier League, and hopefully we can build off of that. Keep another clean sheet next week, and then we just slowly but surely start that momentum.
Oh man, totally agree on that. Mac, I want to bring you in. I have to ask you that, Mickey, because I mean, look, quite frankly, he was almost like a racehorse, in that going full stride. And it was real shades of Jan Vertonghen at Old Trafford when you cast your mind back all those years ago. I mean, I know it's, to say this, Lee, it's very unique. Spurs have got a player like this, because I don't know, I can't compare him to anybody else in the Premier League that has that ability to just accelerate a 50-yard run like he does, completely open up a team and create a goal scoring opportunity out of absolutely nothing. I mean, is that fair to say, Macca, for you?
Yeah, sorry, I was on mute. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think Cracker said it earlier, didn't he? About we're waiting for Talia. Talia is our science girl with the white coat on to get the Mickey Van der Ven's length stride. We're waiting for our science to get back to us. But yeah, I mean, the thing is, well, he's done it twice. It's not a fluke, is it? He's already done it once this season. Striding up the pitch and actually he finished the goal, didn't he, before? So absolutely brilliant. The day that he had the ACL scare or the knee scare. I think the thing is it's the reading of the game as well. And this is the thing, Rick and the team and all the viewers and listeners, right? Is that the difference between being on the front foot and being on the back foot. So the back foot football. If you're playing back foot football, that never happens. It cannot happen. He doesn't run into the space that's in front of him, but he takes it on the turn, because not only does he read the game and say, I'm going to take this, there's a risk of him running out to make the challenge in the first place. You see where I'm coming from. So he goes to get the ball first to win to intercept, and then he goes on the charge and he runs into that space. It's refreshing to see how many centre-backs actually do that, whether or not they can do it or not, how many even attempt to do it. And that is, sorry to coin the phrase, but that is Ange ball. That's exactly why, if you don't take risks in a game, that never happens. Does that make sense? Like that you need to be able to compute
Absolutely.
that. So
absolutely.
When people go, oh, we shouldn't be doing that. Well, if we don't take a risk in an area, that scenario will never happen. Whereas actually they're encouraged to do that, which is why he did it. which is why we scored from it. And I thought,
Yep.
do you know the other thing about that particular run, move, and the assist part is he knocked it so far in front of him. I thought, you're smiling, Rick. I thought, oh, has he gone too far here? Right, but he didn't. He did it on purpose, so he knew the defender had no chance to get it because he backed himself knowing that he'd get there, and he put a perfect cross away. And look, Brennan scores 4 in 4. It's a tap-in, but it's literally Ange ball, isn't it? The amount of balls that went across the face of goal today. I mean, again, the you know, we've all said it, the lads have said it, right? It could have been 5 or 6 easily, right? But the amount of balls that went across the face of goal or just behind the strikers or whatever, you think, bloody hell. But if we don't do that, them goals that we do score don't get scored. Does that make sense? And that's why the madness of it is so logical as well.
Yeah, I want to ask you, Cracks, about Brennan Johnson. You know, Lee's already sound him. The travelling fans at the point of Spurs going 1-up was singing there's only one Brennan Johnson in unison. He's taken a lot of abuse. He's turned it into gold. And it's funny because the thing being levelled at Brennan most recently is the fact that when he got those 15 GAs last season, they weren't at a big club, at a big ground. He's gone and now done it at Old Trafford. It's 4 goals in 4 games and an assist. Is this guy simply silencing the haters right now? Or is it a case where, again, he just needs to continue the form that he's on, keep his head down? Because I have felt really uncomfortable, I have to say, with the level of abuse that guy has got when it's only his 2nd season in a Spurs shirt. And I want to take everybody's mind back to Dele Alli, when Dele Alli arrived on the scene at Spurs. Young kid, similar age. Again, a big move. You might argue, obviously, with Dele, it was slightly different. He was coming from, I believe, a League One side, whereas Brennan was coming from, obviously, a Premier League side in Forest. But I think people are quick to forget, you know, this is a young kid that has been given an opportunity to play for, but we'll laugh when I say this, one of the biggest clubs in the Premier League, one of the biggest clubs in the world. I'll say that as a Tottenham fan. I don't mind saying that. I don't think it's to laugh about, but do you feel now, Cracks, we now need to get off this kid's back and give him an opportunity to shine? Because last season showed you the potential is there with the goals and the assists that he got in that first season. The second season, despite all the flack he's taken, he's got 4 goals in 4 games with an assist, gone away to Old Trafford, got a big goal in a big moment for the club. Can you ask anything more than a kid that age to be performing like that?
Well, Rick, it's the perfect way to silence your critics, isn't it? To get all that heaped upon you to the point that you have to delete your social media and then to come back out, suck the whole lot up, and then turn in the performances he has done since that happened. So, sadly, when you become a footballer or famous in that respect, this is the sort of thing that will dog you and follow you around. So you have to build some filters into your mind. As crazy as this sounds, Rick, we see it even doing this show. And I mean, you know, if you're an A-list celebrity footballer, I mean, we're Z-list. I mean, we couldn't even get on a Channel 5 reality show. That's how far down the pecking order we are.
Talk about yourself, Crackers. Talk about yourself, son.
Yeah, well, yeah, okay.
You know what I'm saying? I actually won a BBC One version. You know what I mean?
Okay. All right. So
yeah.
apart from Lee, we're all in the mud.
We'll put Macca at the F list then, whilst we all sit on the Z list. But there you go. We all see some, don't we? From time to time, you know, it's like I often get a message from people and you know, like Crackers, this, that, and you think to yourself, I'm surprised you actually can spell fat, mate. Well done. Like, thanks for that message. But you just like, you know, I'm a 55-year-old man, couldn't care less what anybody says. Now, times that by 1 million, this is what some of these young, and they're just young men, are going through. So he's taken all of that and just spat the whole lot out and turned in performances like that. So you have to build a little bit of resilience, because nobody's going to change the world or reinvent the wheel with this. You're always going to have those people sat out there in their underpants, like in something, you know, in their mum's back room, typing crap to these people because they've got nothing going on in their own lives, or passing comments on channels and this and that. So you have to just you literally have to compartmentalize it in your head and just go, okay, you think this, but then you come to channels like this, you're never going to be seeing that sort of talk or some of the stuff that's been said from here. People in the comments, like the regulars here, you're not going to see that, even if it's somebody that you don't particularly like, who's not particularly playing well. You never step over that line into that sort of abuse. The people that do this are the types that just don't go, or are just not Spurs fans, like really, or football fans. They just want to abuse people. But you hear that today at Old Trafford, everybody's singing his name. These are the people that have got up at silly o'clock today and come from all points, north, south, east and west, to get to the game.
What
soaked,
an away in that was. What
got behind him. Just the whole game. The whole game. Yeah. Because the boys on the pitch gave them something and they gave them something back. That's how football works. So just carry on doing what you're doing. I'm surprised any footballer is actually on social media, to be honest. It's just like they want to be there to interact with the vast decent majority, and you've just got to like filter out the idiots and the crap. And if at that age you can suck that up and actually draw a little bit of strength from it, then that's a great thing. That's character building, and that's resilience going forward. So well done, Brennan. Well done for what you've done on the pitch and how you've dealt with it off. Hat off to you, young man. Well done. Because the decent, right-minded people are right behind you and always have been.
Oh, man. Lovely words there, Cracks. Bringing Patty in on this game itself. I'm going to ask Pat about the setting off in a second, but lovely interplay between Kulusevski and Maddison ends with Onana denying the latter with his shoulder. Soon after that, a doggy shoots after being played in by Kulusevski, and Spurs at this point, really, they're suffocating Manchester United, who simply just couldn't get out really of their half, and that was the domination of Spurs. And as every Spurs fan in the world thinking, my God, please, 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 let's take some of these chances. We're dominating that first half. Again, you look at the fact Brennan Johnson hitting the left-hand post. Spurs at this point in total, utter domination, cutting United apart time after time after time. We did see Odegi go down, getting tripped after making an initial run up the pitch, but Spurs went on top. But I think the biggest concern, as I said, we'll know that we don't want to made really paid the price for failing to turn the dominance into goals. There was a big save from Vicario to deny Xerxes from equalising. Man created that move down the right while Doggy was off the pitch, but he was back on at that point. We had Johnson flash a low ball across the 6-yard box, but Mazoral did well to get it just before Werner. And more good play from Spurs saw Romero send an acrobatic effort just wide from Porro's cross. We have discussed Timo Werner really already on this show, so I'm not going to go too far into it. Look, he had a great opportunity coming towards the end of that half to really put Spurs in complete dominative control of the game. He was sent through one-on-one. Onana saved with his legs. And the only thing I would say on that point, again, not go overboard on this, is that I think everyone that saw Timo Werner go through, and including Timo Werner himself, never looked confident he was going to finish. And look, we've had a great game, great performance. I don't want to single out players. It's not that day for it, like Macca said there. But for a player that's coming in, I believe he's on a wage command in 150, 170 a week. I think the biggest thing I would say is that I'd love to see his minutes given to someone like a Micky more, that I think we see Micky as part of the future of the football club. And you'd arguably say, given Mikey's record last season for the youth at Tottenham and now being obviously drafted in as part of the first team, I think Micky buries those chances. And that's no disrespect to Timo Werner. I just feel his confidence is at an all-time low. I think the one thing you would say about Werner is what he does offer you is he's able, as Cracker said in his opening, is to stretch the play. And look, maybe that's the argument why he's in the team over Sonny. But if it's for goal contributions, then I think you've got to look at Micky more moving forward. And I think just on that basis, we'll come on to, like I say, the latter stage of the game. He had another great chance, but it wasn't Werner's day on the office, that's for sure. It also wasn't Bruno Fernandes' day at the office. Patty, if I can come round to you, because implosion at Old Trafford. Fernandes received a straight red card, and United were down to 10. Now, he made a movement with his studs to Maddison's shin after slipping, but drew his foot back. Now, a couple of alternative angles at this, as those we'll see for our watching audience here. One maybe not looking as bad as the other, but many may say in the neutral camp, It's harsh, but VAR was always likely to overturn it. Slipped and then lunged in desperation-wise. And look, for what it's worth, I don't really like the bloke, so I don't really care if it was a red card or not. I mean, what was your take on it for you, Pat? Was that a red card for you first thing and then on review for you?
When I first saw it, I thought it was red. When I saw it again and again, I probably thought it was a bit harsh. A yellow would have probably been the fair, the fair card. I don't know. I'm a bit torn because I think Bruno Fernandes is a dirty player. He does get away with a lot, but you have to judge the challenge for the challenge in isolation. And I'm not sure it was a red card, but I'll take it all day long. He did. It was it's sinister, almost like, he wiped Maddison out when we were literally through on the break. So you got to take that into consideration. It's tough, isn't it? Because even Dragusin, last man on Thursday, was that a red card? By the letter of the law, probably, but it was really, 8 minutes in, and it wasn't really, it was a coming together. I don't know what's a red card anymore. I can't lie. It just depends on what the referee feels on the day. I honestly don't know, but like I said, I'll take it all day long. Annoyed a bit because I feel with 11 versus 11, we still beat them probably with that scoreline, and it just looks a bit better for us. But then also at the same time, who cares at the end of the day? We just got to play what's in front of us. The referee gave it. We move on. After that, of course, they're going to surround the ref. The crowd's going to make noise. They're going to try and get anything they can. There was a couple wayward handball shouts that they was always going to try and force. You could see that, but it doesn't really matter. I mean, for them, of course, they're concerned and they're upset, but I think we deserve some sort of luck now because there's been a couple of games where we've been a much better team. We've had weird, dodgy decisions. And when Xerxes was through and he could have scored, I was like, geez, with all the dominance, it's still 1-0. And when Kulu scored at the beginning of the second half, then I was at ease and I thought, we're going to win this game. But up until then, I was still worried because, again, we've had all that dominance against Newcastle, against Leicester and against, whoever, and we still ended up dropping points or losing the game. So, yeah, it doesn't really matter. When you look at our results at Old Trafford over the last couple of years, other than a weird 6-1 and maybe another, it's been draws at best, like the 2-2 last year, or we end up getting beaten and we can end up being the better team but still losing the game. So I feel that that is a statement. It's away from home against a good team, a big team. I say good, maybe not, but a big team, who essentially do kind of luck their way out of, getting results. And yeah, I feel it's annoying because I'm sure, we've jumped on this pretty much straight after, but I'm sure once we watch all the post-match interviews and we watch all the roundup and the presses, it's going to be how bad United were. And it's never going to be how good Spurs were.
That is exactly what is going on. For those that
there you go.
will be watching or listening back to the recoverage of the game from, I don't want to be judging broadcasters out there, but the general broadcasting consensus is that United are in absolute crisis right now. It's all about Erik ten Hag. Whereas look, this is the beauty of podcasts like this because you only get Tottenham. You only get Tottenham on it.
Yeah, Rick, before Sky started with their post-match analysis at the top of the show, I said this will be all about how bad Man United was. And okay, but that's always the way it has been and always the way it will be. We made them look bad. It's as simple as that. We made them look terrible. So
that's the biggest compliment. That's the biggest compliment you can give to us, right?
Yep. Mm-hmm. Totally agree. I think it's important we make that point as well because Ange actually on the red card, important to bring this into play. Ange said that we were well in control, and to be honest with you, Man United still posed the same threat in the transition. I don't think it changed the game. We went on top by then, and it's interesting because I think Mac opened up and said it to you that when you look overall, can we just all agree actually on this? Just a very quick yes or no. Crackers, for you, red or not? Was it a red card on James Maddison from Bruno? Yes or no?
Yeah, it was a snide challenge, to be honest. He slipped and he still managed to lift his leg and catch Maddison. That could have well been the side of the knee and done some damage. So he slipped and then he's done him. Letter of the law says it was reckless, it was out of control, and it was a red. And he's actually just snide tried to do him. So and he's got that in his locker as well, by the way, hasn't he? So there was probably a little bit of thinking that came into that from previous and the type of character that he is. It was below the knee, but he was so out of control and so reckless with it that it could have well been above the knee or on the knee. So yeah, for me, that's a red. He's gone, and I think he deserved it, to be honest.
Love it. I'm going from crackers to Macca and saying yes or no, and you're only get like a couple of sentences after that. Macca will go to you. Yeah. Yes or no? Given what we've had to go against us at Old Trafford.
Do you know what, team? Viewers, listeners, that is a red all day long. And the reason why that is a red, nothing to do with that graphic, Rick. Nothing to do with that graphic. It is because of our friend Carroll that clawed that ball out all them years ago at Old Trafford when it was clearly over the line, about this much over. So
not that we forget anything.
Yeah, we don't forget nothing on this show, and that's why it's a red card all day long.
Macca, I want to ask you about going into half time, because I think we've all made the point that that was definitely Ange Postecoglou's best half in charge of Spurs in terms of what they produced. They were relentless, so much better than United. You had Solanke leading the press, backed up by Kulu and Maddison, giving Man United no time to settle. I used that word suffocation earlier in footballing context. That's what it was. Against 11 men, Spurs were superb, ripping them every time they went forward. It was no mercy shown. How confident were you, Macca, that you were going to see a performance second half that will continue that trend and also be able to see out a game which, to be fair to the United fans, I think had they got a goal back, there was that feeling around Old Trafford in the crowd. They were going to try and claw them back into that game. But was you always confident, Macca, going in at half-time, Spurs were going to see out that game? I'm asking Macca how many he's been a Spurs fan and how you reckon at Old Trafford. How did you feel?
Yeah. Look, I was. I mean, look, I'm not... Look, watching a football match, it is all about emotion. And, Poch said this, but before we can talk about Poch now, because he's not that lot down the road anymore. So, Poch said this before about VAR, and VAR coming in, it ruins the emotion of the game. Football's an emotional game. It's like, whilst all the A-team, us four, was on after the Leicester game, it got heated. And because it's, Crackers, you having a look at this comment here, son? King Hoddle there.
Crackers are starting the new trend out there. Working his cock off.
But I mean, he did actually, absolutely. But look, I mean, I think it is an emotional game. So you do go through the roller coasters, don't you, of watching a football match? And I think when you're there, rather than watching what we got to remember is the commentary. When you listen to the commentary, it makes an effect on the game. Like it absolutely does. When you're watching a camera angle, it makes a massive effect on the game. It does. It's very good, but it makes it. When you're actually there, and Crackers always says this all of the time about the eyeball test, versus my stats, if you know what I mean, like in my blue book and whatever. But you look at that and you go, what's the eye test versus? And everything to me today just showed that we were better than them in every part of the pitch. It was a perfect away. I think I said this in the group. I think it was a perfect away performance. You go there to Old Trafford, Super Sunday, 76,000. All the ex-Liverpool, ex-Tottenham players with bloody Gooner, ex-Man United player that's in the studio. They're all talking United, Tang hard. And we go there. You've got to put all that into consideration. And within 3 minutes, we score. Because of these two fantastic, gorgeous guys, Van der Ven and Johnson, just smashing it. And we quieten the crowd. And then we keep the ball. And then we quieten it even further. And people say, we don't manage games, or we haven't managed games very well. And whatever. Well, we did that brilliantly, I think, today. And I think I said it earlier in the show, and I'll just repeat it again. Yes, you're always going to have spells in the Premier League, 8, 9, 10 minutes or so, 10, 15 minute spells when you're on the back foot. We handled all them corners they're throwing in there. People are telling me we can't deal with a corner. We can't deal with set pieces. We need a set piece coach. Well,
can I say one thing on this? Can I say one thing on this, Macca? And please come back in, because Jason will kill me if I don't bring this up, right? This is, Jason. Jason's very much about, on his point. So Jason has said 45 corners faced. Jason, I know you're watching and listening somewhere, bless your heart. 45 corners faced, 1 goal conceded, 4 direct efforts from corners on our goal. No set piece coach. And obviously me and a couple of others have been saying he needs to learn his lessons. I mean, is that the point, Macca, that lessons are being learned?
I think so. I think you have to. I mean, that's a question more for you and the people that were saying that they wasn't learning lessons, because, I think they have learned. I think you look at the statistics. Statistically, and I know it's eye test as well, but statistically, we've got a better defensive record this season than we did last season. And I'm talking about can we, happy days, all that stuff last season. We're top 4 after 6 games, and we're having the butchers and we're thinking, can we do this? We've let in 7 goals. We've only let in 5 goals. We've only let in 5 goals a whole season. We've played Arsenal and we've played, Newcastle away and whatever. And it's it's sickening to lose to them games. But Newcastle away, we had 65.4% of the possession. We had 20 shots. Like, just let that sink in. We're 20 shots, 6 of them on target. I mean, this is not even a gung-ho scenario. Yes, we conceded 2 goals. We absolutely did, and we were a little bit open. But since then, we conceded a set, ironically, set piece. I think
it's also an important point Kayla makes there. Spurs have the second best defensive record in the entire league. I mean, yes, we have shown concerns about our defending at times, but it does show you that sometimes when you escape the magnifying glass too much, Macca, there are improvements. And I think, again, a performance like that only highlights than they do. Now, interestingly, obviously, on the half-time, as Pat mentioned, there was a concern over Destiny Udogie, in which he came off the field, Jed Spence came on, and Postecoglou shared an update on where we are with Destiny at the moment. And Ange said, yeah, he's okay. I mean, he felt something in his quad, but obviously, I mean, he did finish the half, but we thought at half-time, no point, we've got to be careful about how much we push our players. I think it's a really important point now that Spurs, as we know...
It's a good decision as well, Rick, isn't it? Again, another good decision to bring on Spence, to get Destiny some time. Spence has some game time, lots of noise about him not being in the Europa League. If you'd have turned around to Spence and said, would you rather play carrier bag at home, or would you rather go to Old Trafford and play a whole half? Which one is he taking all day long? So I think he's managed that situation really well.
Only Macca's turned the European selection into a positive. Everyone else was going absolutely mental, but Macca's turned it into a positive.
But again, maybe it's hindsight, but at the end of the day, when you look at it now, it looks okay, doesn't it? Spence now feels part of the Premier League team, and that's very important.
Yeah. He actually mentioned that point as well. He said obviously Destiny's had to come on pretty early on Thursday night, which wasn't the plan for him. I would say Micky probably played more minutes than we wanted him to. So with those kind of things, we just got to be really careful. And Jed did really well when he came on. So I thought it was just a wished and a wise move to take him off, but we'll see how he goes. Patty, I want to ask you about, I think what your player has been so far, player of the season. Don't want to put words in your mouth. Dejan Kulusevski. I mean, I think you were raving on it, Pat, whilst I was chasing 2 kids around in Cyprus for a couple of weeks, whilst yourself, Macca, Crackers hosted this ship, should I call it? And I remember you on those shows just glossing and, very much in love with Kulu in this new role of a number 10, scoring yet again. Good work from the right. You had Solanke, he head the ball down the right-hand channel. Johnson raced onto it before he deflected it into a touch pass via Kulusevski, touched it past Onana via the Swede. I mean, for our watching audience here that are watching this skill, I mean, the goal itself, Pat, this is an incredible bit of quality to score this goal. Not many players could do it, perform it, execute it, and actually have a goal come out of it. How good, Pat, was that goal? And how big was the timing of the game? Straight after half-time. A lot of us worried by the missed chance in that first half, as we know. We've got that second goal, Patty. How vital was that for you?
Yeah, I mean, for all those that call me negative and say that, there's so many people that don't really get where I'm coming from and they call me negative on here and on Twitter, but yet they forget that I eulogize over people like Kulusevski, Son, Micky van der Ven. When these guys were having bad moments and bad patches, I was still here telling everyone how good they are. Kulusevski last year wasn't at his greatest. You never saw me write him off. The same with a lot of our players. And now he's finally showing what we all saw and what the real Kulu fans believed and knew he was going to come back to do. Bossing big games away against a very good team in Man United, a team that will be in and around that top 4 area, a team that wins trophies every season, a team that we'll be competing with. And yeah, it was men against boys in that middle of the park. And he was just a beast defensively. He was a beast on the half turn, picking the right passes, that death finish that we all are talking about right now. And he just seemed to always have an answer for whatever they were, questioning him about. And I just think he's an amazing player, man. I really do. And it's not always going to work out, but when it does, like today, and pretty much all of this season, even in games where we unfortunately didn't get the result we wanted, you could see what Kulu was doing when he came on and had the cameos. He was the best player on the pitch today. Again, I mean, you can argue between him and Micky van der Ven. I thought both were superb, but Kulu was brilliant in that final third. And I just think he's such a top player, man. And we just need to keep him fit. One thing I do like, it's not really about Kulu, but I do like that Ange isn't scared to not risk a player. Like Son didn't travel, if he's got a slight tweak or knock, He's not going to risk him. Destiny took him off at half time, not risking him. So, you're thinking about the bigger picture on the long term. No point running these guys into the ground. We've got a lot of games, a lot of high intensity games, a lot of games where we can definitely assert our dominance onto the pitch, and we need to keep these players fit. And I just think that as well, you can see that 10 men against Karabag. I don't want to disrespect them like Lee did.
I tell you, if we're playing in the final, we've got to worry about them again. But thank God we're just going to carry a bag for now. We'll do the research for the final if they get there, if we get there.
But 10 men against Karabag, and we still were fit. We were all around the pitch. These guys that still played today. They're in top shape, and you got to rate Ange for that. You got to rate that medical team for that. And I just think that. Yeah, I think they're all starting to purr now. Maddison looked good. Kulusevski looked good. Brennan Johnson looked good. Pretty much everyone on the pitch looked good. And, apart from the one guy, I don't want to name him. People say I'm negative if I point out the obvious, point out the glaring, obvious that we can all see. So I won't, quote unquote, for being negative. But I thought everyone was great other than that. And, we go again on Thursday and Sunday.
Yeah, it's an important point you make there, Pat, because obviously after that goal, again, it's not to be negative, it's just reality. Timo had a great chance to obviously put the game beyond doubt for 3-0. But, again, it's a guy that, with no disrespect to him, you maybe argue he's not had obviously regular first team football. If that goes in, it's a conclusive game at that point. But at the same time, we didn't have to wait long for the third goal. But just on Kulu, Crackers, I know it's a player you've always admired. And I think the thing about Kulu is that for a long time on here, we've always been suggesting, well, he's a great player, but we don't seem to know his best position. As Macca, for the 150th time there, shows his shirt on the background of him. Is it fair to say, Crackers, that we're now realising where his role is? Because,
Macca,
look,
Macca, God bless DH Gate.
Mate, honestly, God bless him. God bless him. I was going to put it on, but it was too small.
Sorry, I meant the official club shop. I always get them two mixed up.
Sorry, Mr. Levy.
Sorry, Rick. Go on.
No, but I mean, on Kulu, is it lovely now to have a player that, we now seem to know his best position? We always knew Kulu had ability. We always knew he could finish. We always knew he had a, desire to be able to go into that final third. But the one thing I think we've always questioned as Spurs fans is, well, hold on, this guy's great, but what is his position? Have we now found that position that we've been waiting to see?
Round peg in a round hole, Rick, isn't it? We found him, his position through the middle. That's where he's happy. And just seen this, put him into it, and pays you back, 1,000 times over with performances like today. Onana is an incredible goalkeeper, by the way, absolutely incredible. And he has mugged him all ends up, absolutely all ends up with that little deft touch. And that's not easy to do. That really is not easy to do against a world-class goalkeeper. He is that good. So when you make a goalkeeper like Onana look like Onana, then you're onto something, can't you? But more than that, managing, you're not just. I always try and bring a human element into speaking about players, and Kulu must be one of the easiest players in the world to manage. He's 20. We've discussed this before. He's 23 years old. He's very much head screwed on. He's focused on his career. If you asked him to play in goal, he probably would. He just seems like one of those lads. Just to rewind a little bit to when we was talking about Spence. Now, Spence seems to have come with some baggage previously, where there may be a little bit of an attitude problem, or as a little bit of a different personality, shall we say, to Kulu, and may need managing in a different way. And Ange just brought him on today and played him on the wrong side, and he's absolutely torn it up. He's got this young man playing really, really well after a few seasoned managers like Warnock questioned who he is and what he is and his attitude, and he's settled down, and really, really found his flow. When he does get a game, he's managing him, and he comes on and he plays, and he does fantastically well. So, what I'm trying to say is that if you can manage players that maybe have a little bit of a reputation for being difficult to manage, and you can manage those, then you've really got something. It's a bit like Man City. If you can win the league with Man City, that's one thing. Of course, you've got to manage some really big players. But if you can finish 10th, 9th or 10th with a Bournemouth that has a capacity of about 12 people in their stadium and income streams which are like, you know, just completely ridiculous, that's more impressive. You see what I'm trying to say? It's quite easy to manage a big club in some respects, but if you're managing a small club and you're getting them into a great position, that's more impressive. So equally, if you're managing a player and a personality that's easy to manage, that's one thing. If you can then manage your more difficult personalities in the football side and get them to perform, then you have got something. You know, we had the issues with Basuma that got dealt with. That seems to have settled down. Spence, there was issues there with him. He's been managed. He's settled down. So if you can manage all those different personalities as a manager, then you really are onto something. It is all about managing the people. They can all play football. They're all fantastic footballers. They wouldn't be where they was. Now you've got to manage that person and bring the best out of them. So find somebody like Kulu, find their best position, and then everything else takes care of itself, because he takes care of himself. His attitude, he's brilliant. He's off the scale for his age and what he's been through, like leaving Sweden for Italy at, I think he's about 14, 15 years old. Just went without his parents. It's impressive.
Independent. Yeah, lovely words there.
Very
Totally agree with that.
so.
You know, I think people forget about that. You know, some footballers, he literally locked himself away and dedicated himself to the game. And, you know, you'd say now he's getting the rewards by the fact that, you know, he's there. Macca's put into that blue book. On the blue book, I just say, Macca's probably put it in there now. Mike Penner, there shares it as well. Could have created 9 chances at Old Trafford, more than anyone since records began in 2003. God, you have to go back that far.
See, this is where I drop out and Macca comes in with his blue book, because I'm the eye test and the person. Macca's your stats. Over to you, Macca.
For sure. And chances created per 90. Dejan Kulusevski, 4.11. He is the top of the league for that, against De Bruyne, Saka, Pereira of Fulham, Jack Grealish, Dwight McNeil. So some big names up there. Minimum games this season of 3 starts, and he is absolutely tearing it up. I mean, I think he's been one of our best players, and I'm so happy for him to get that goal today, because he fully deserved it. He's fully deserved more assists and more goals. And a lot of us, including me, as Crackers just said, I love my stats. So I go, oh, what's the GA? What's the GA? And if you looked at Decky's GA so far this season, you wouldn't be impressed. You'd be like, hang on, what's going on? But actually, that chances created, 9 today. You know, top of the league for chances created per 90. Across everybody in the league, and absolutely tearing that up. I think I said right at the beginning of the show, he was sensational for Sweden as well in the international break. So fair play to him, he's getting the rewards. And like you said, Crackers, round pegs and round holes. And he's always said, hasn't he, when he did that brilliant interview, really open, candid interview about his story, like coming from Sweden and going to Italy, as you just referenced, but he talked about his best position being in the middle. And now we're seeing it. And I just think he's going to get even. I mean, somebody said, sorry, buddy, I didn't catch your name, but somebody said, wow, when you said he's only 23. And that is, I mean, the bloke's an ox. I call him an ox all the time. Like, the bloke is a proper man mountain. Yeah, so strong. And, you know, and you think, he's 23 years old, man. And like, we're going, oh, Brennan Johnson, you know, oh, he's just a kid. He's the same age. It's pretty crazy, isn't it? Like, when you think about it like that, they're the same age. Yeah. So fair play to him, man. I can't give him enough praise. It's been absolutely brilliant. And just quickly also on the blue, whilst I've got it out, average possession so far in the league this season is 62%. So you talk about Go back, just visualize this all now, team. Visualize it now. Jose Mourinho, Antonio Conte, you were going to White Hart Lane. You were bored out of your titties. All of you were, because I was there for all them games, and it was terrible football. Shoddy, awful. Now we're 62, 65, 70% possession. Yeah, but possession don't win games. Okay. We've had 110 shots at goal in 6 football matches in the Premier League. 110. Go and take that out of your locker. And we've had 46 shots on target. 46 on target. Now, you keep playing like that throughout the season, you are going to score more goals than you'll concede. You are going to win more football matches than you lose. And that is, in my opinion, based on the data and the analysis, that is top 3. Yes, I said it because that's my prediction for the beginning of the season, as you said. That is a prediction of in and around the top 3. I'm telling you. And if we can... Yeah. Now, the big question is, Rick, the big question is if we can keep it up.
If we can sustain it.
I don't like if in my vocabulary. I'm not talking about ifs. I'm talking about whens. When we keep that up, we are going to end up being in the top 3.
You know, the last time we had a feeling like this, and I don't want to go overboard, it was Aston Villa away and we won 4-0 last season. That was followed up by that horrendous defeat to Fulham, which I think we're all here for was an absolute stinker. We all said that was an off day and we will get back on track. The key now, like I said, is this game is an absolute patty momentum gainer, in which now this should give everybody the confidence that we've gone away to a traditional Big 6, Big 4 club, got the result, not only got the result, but it's the manner, the conviction, the way we've done it. Now what we need to see is 4 wins on the bounce, and the way this team is now performing, I don't want to see us take, you have to give me a, I've got to get the name right, Ferin Cavaros on Thursday. Cracks, you'll tell me if I've got that right or wrong on Thursday. I want to see us now.
Come on, Cracks, what's happening? Oh, by the way, I put my fight to Bill Bauer the other day.
That'll do.
He's getting overconfident. That'll do. I mean, I think it's really
close enough.
Yeah, absolutely. But this is why I talk about momentum gainers. And Pat, there's no bigger momentum gainer at the moment than Dominic Solanke. 3 goals in 3 for Big Dom. And you know what? What I would just say is that you can tell when somebody just fits a shirt right. Dom looks like a player that absolutely is fitting that shirt right for Spurs. There'll be that argument that there have been poachers' goals, there have been tap-ins. They all count. Harry Kane made a career out of them at Spurs, these kind of goals. So, Pat, how pleased are you? I mean, Ange called it as a sarcastic joke, a lack of confidence for 180 minutes. And since then, he's got 3 and 3. But can you see, Pat, why people are getting excited about finally having a genuine number 9 that is not only a poacher, a goal scorer, but more importantly, Pat, as you've mentioned on this show, actually, when he first played for Spurs, brings others into play. That's the exciting part of this, man, isn't it? We're losing Pat for some reason. Pat is off mute. This is an interesting one. We can't hear Pat. The one time we want to bloody hear him and we've got a result, we can't hear him. We'll bring Pat back in. We'll go, if I can, Crackers on this. Crackers, you know what, we talk a lot about players and you've seen a lot of strikers in your time, not to age you too much.
Can you hear me now?
We've got you, Patty. We'll come back to Patty. Patty, how lovely is it to have a number 9? Go for it, Pat, please.
Yeah, I think it's fantastic, man. I captained him this weekend. I thought he would have a good game. I think he brings something different to the team. He's a poacher. He's in and around that 6-yard box. But the good thing is he's a lot better with the ball at his feet than people give him credit for. He can actually, be in the build-up. He's a good passer of the ball as well. And I just think he has a physical presence offensively and defensively. And I'm really excited to see him go. Obviously, if you compare him to Harry Kane, of course, it's chalk and cheese. But if you compare him to what we didn't have last year, and now you're adding that physical presence, I think he's easily going to get about 15 goals for us in the Prem this season. And once he gets a bit more confidence and stops, overthinking it and just settles in like he was at Bournemouth, I think he's going to be a really dangerous player. Could have easily had 2 today, and hopefully he just continues that on the weekend. I think Brighton is a tough game, and I've been looking at statistically, they're very similar to us in terms of their shots on goal, possession.
The highlight.
Yeah.
That's like, Mackie, you only got me last season. Back up. This is the High Line derby. This is the High Line derby covered. This is the High Line derby, my friend.
It will be a really interesting game. I mean, if you look at the shots total for 24-25 so far, Man City on 115, Spurs in second on 110, Brighton in third on 96. And even if you look at most passes, we're third on 3-3-2-9. Brighton are fourth on 3-1-8-7. So they're very similar in terms of how they like to build up and play. Goals scored as well. You know, we've scored 12, they've scored 10. So let's not take them for granted. They're a good team. And they will give us a good test. But I am confident that we can do it.
Pat, just coming on that, buddy, just quickly with you. Obviously, come back. There's one major fact, though. They're shit.
You know, no, I'm confident if we play the way we did today and just, I say be disciplined and just concentrate.
That's banter from my sister, mate. The Brighton season.
If we concentrate, I think we'll be able to do the job and see it through. No silly mistakes, nothing crazy, but it will be a really good game. Another litmus test, another test to see where we're at. I do respect that, and I think they're a good team. But we should.
You know what that Brighton game's gonna be like? It's gonna be 20 men on the centre spot, isn't it? On the halfway line. It's gonna be like a rugby scrum. Somewhere in the middle of it will be the ball, where both sides are so high lining. It's literally, there's just going to be 20 men all gathered on the centre spot. And all of a sudden, the ball will just pop out and one team will go. And whoever manages to get the ball to pop out, it's going to be like a rugby game, honestly. It's just going to be constant scrimmage on the halfway line. Let's see what happens.
We need some Benny Hill music in that, Cracks. We've got some Benny Hill music in that as well.
See if we can get the ball out to Dominic Solanke, because you know what Dominic Solanke, he is literally like a ballet dancer in Dr. Martin boots, isn't he? You could see him doing Swan Lake, but with Dr. Martin boots on. And he can, you know, when ballet dancers go up on their toes, that weird thing that they do. It's like you just break your ankle, wouldn't it? They do. You just like you feel like you could pirouette in Dr. Martin boots, like 12 hole high Dr. Martin boots, kick someone up the arse, but also ballet dance as well, isn't he? Cozy fan Tootie in a pair of boots. That's what he is.
You know what? Many would say, though, that Dom believed in this, and actually you'd say in some way, imagine this to happen, because before the game, Mac, I don't know if you actually saw this, that Dom said that we're not scared of anybody, so we'll go there to Old Trafford, be on the front foot. One of the reasons why I was delighted to sign for Tottenham was the playing style. It suited me. I love it when the team is playing well. We can dominate games. The way that we play, there'll be a lot of chances created for me. And I believe it's obviously a chanting jest. 50 million down the drain. Dom Solanke scores again was the cry from the Tottenham away fans. Look, we've had a difficult time, Macca, getting strikers into this club that really make a difference. So when one starts the way Dominic has, I think that's brilliant for confidence, because we've seen many strikers come in, Macca, and ultimately fail by not scoring in their opening 4, 5, 6, 7 games, to name the likes of Soldado, to Janssen. You want to go back to Redbrock, you want to go back to Raziak even. When I mention these strikers, God, I feel like I'm aging here, Crackers. Forgive me, but I feel like I'm aging here, Cracks. But Macca's face.
Who?
I know, it just shows how old we are.
You're putting them right out of the bag.
Even Pat's looking at me like he's going to kill me. Those eyes were like, Rick, are you serious?
Raziak.
I mean,
honestly, me and Ange saw him turn out once, and he had a pair of Lotto boots on, and that was it. It was like, honestly, you can't wear Lotto boots. You're a pro footballer. God bless Lotto, but you can't wear them. Honestly, I think Adidas paid him 50 grand a week to wear Nike boots. You know that?
Oh,
he was shocking, wasn't he? Yep. Absolutely shocking.
I'll tell you what. On this point, I think it's really important we say this, Macca. Is it lovely, Macca, to have somebody that already you've got confidence instilled in at a very early period? That, look, there will be difficult times, and that's not to do down at all players, but is it lovely to obviously have this period already where, there's a player that we can already see he's going to fit the system so well, Macca?
Yeah, 100%, mate. I think we touched on it earlier. I think that, fair play to Jess and Christina in our group, like two of our own. They've obviously got up there as well with George today. They're in the away end singing their hearts out. But they said they had a conversation in the group about Dom, I think in midweek, and Jess sort of said, "Oh, I don't want to say this out loud, but he reminds me of someone." And Christina was like, "Yeah, mate, maybe rearrange the last 4 letters of his name." I'll leave that one to all of you to do. We're not putting him in that bracket quite yet, but there's something about him. He knows where the goal is. He knows how to pull and push and pull defenders around with him. He knows when to come short. I would like to see him a couple more times in the box, because I don't think at the moment we've seen his shooting power or his shooting ability. Do you know what I mean? Quite yet. And I think he's got it in his locker as well to score some very, very good goals. He's a cute player. You know what I mean by that? He just knows where to go. That goal today was a perfect, cute poacher's type goal, and he's going to score a lot of goals in this team. He's going to score a lot of goals in this team because of the amount of chances he's creating. I'm loving him, mate. I'm absolutely loving him.
Yeah, I also have to give credit there. I mean, we talk about substitutions with Ange at times, but what an unbelievable impact sub. Bergvall, it's the three players, just to be clear, more Bergvall and Sarr replacing Werner, Johnson and Maddison. The corner, Bergvall whips it in, Sarr flicks it on, and Solanke slides it home. It's just unbelievable. Two of the three subs all involved there, and it was an immediate impact from them, and so lovely to see. And I think, when we talk about big wins for a manager in his Spurs tenureship, that felt for me like a big, big win because, rightly or wrongly, Macca, I think it's fair to say you've been unwavering in your support for Ange Postecoglou. At no point have you doubted the process. I think you and Jason, to be fair to you, who's obviously a regular on here, Jason as well, very similar by the fact that, look, you can't judge him after season 1. Season 2, again, he's working on getting his players together. Is this, I called it a eureka moment at the start of the show. Do you think that is that case? Or, even if that result hadn't come today, it was far too early to be having the conversation that were maybe being had. What do you feel on that very quickly?
Look, we put a poll out as well, didn't we? And I know it's only social media, but there's about 6,000 maybe people voted. And I think 8% of them was like Ange out. The rest wanted him in. So it kind of gives you a bit of an indicator. I was getting pelters for putting that out, by the way. I'm just literally asking a question. I'm Angeing all day long. But I think everything that we're seeing, the statistics that we read out, the statistics that Opta put out there, the defensive changes, the tweaks that Crackers mentioned right at the beginning of the show, it does show you that things are being slightly different this year. Now, look, we might go and lose the next 3, 4, 5 on the trot. And we're also not going to go and win the next 30 games, right? We all know that. Let's not be delusional. There's still going to be loads of ups and downs. I keep talking about, especially privately, but I keep talking to you, Rick, obviously about Poch and Poch's first season and Poch's second season. And it's very, very similar. The vibes I'm getting, honestly, just think back to where we were. I mean, we were drawing 2-2 at Stoke and losing to Man United under Poch's second season. We've probably got, I think we've got more points. I ain't checked, actually. I'll check in a minute. I think we've got more points now than we did under Poch's second season. And that second season was a title challenge with Leicester, which, by the way, we were never top, by the way. Arsenal were for about 20 weeks and they still didn't win the title. But anyway, different story. But the point being is that there is them vibes. I think that the issue is, and it's not just a football thing, it's a human behavior thing. When change happens, it's really tough. Yeah, I don't think I met anybody at the ground or in this chat or in these shows that said to me, we want to keep Jose, or we wanted to keep Conte at the end, or Stellini at the end. So in other words, we needed change. I remember having conversations with my boys, with you, you're my lads, my boyfriends, my girlfriends, talking about we just want to see good football. That's how bad it got. It got so bad that all we wanted to do was just see good football. Now we're seeing it. And now good football, there's also a bit of a gung-ho approach. And I think that's the first season and maybe even certain bits now. And there will be times where we lose games. There will be. And there will be times where players make mistakes, because Man City didn't win against Newcastle yesterday. Do you see where I'm coming from, right? Yes, Liverpool win against Wolves, but Wolves are bottom of the table and they still gave them a bit of a go. Do you know what I mean? Yes, Leicester got beaten in the end by Arsenal 4-2. We all know that was going to happen, but it was 2-2 in the 93rd minute. This is the Premier League. Are you with me, lads, viewers and listeners? This is the reality of the Premier League. It is bonkers. So I think it's what I would say. I think it's extremely hard when people, some of us have said he's out of his depth, he's out of the league, and so on and so forth. Because if he was, he wouldn't be winning 3-0 at Old Trafford today. He wouldn't be. So there's been enough I've seen now in the 5 or 6 games that we've seen. And here's the thing about Coventry, the pile-on at Coventry, we were shit, we were the worst, but we won. Like, we've been brilliant up until that game, and we ain't been getting the results. And the result that actually matters in a cup game, like you just need to get through, we're piling in. And we were crap, we were shit. Last year, we lost to Fulham in the exact same scenario where he changed like 9-10 players, and we were like, mate, you're having an absolute laugh. This is not Dunfermline, blah, blah, blah. This time, he's done the same thing, but he's got away with it. But it proves to be the right decision, doesn't it? Because Ben Davies plays and all the other players play. Radu Dragusin gets minutes. Maybe Radu can't come on today if he hadn't played before because he hadn't had any minutes. Do you see what I mean? So he's trying to balance it out. He's trying to get to grips with that. And also, we've had 110 shots, as Pat said earlier, and I mentioned earlier from the Blue Book on the at goal, 46 of them on target. We're playing front foot football. Micky van der Ven does not score that goal or assist that goal today if we're playing back foot. Does not happen in a Conte team. Does not happen in a Conte team. And this is the reality. So change, the point I suppose I was making, long-winded way, but change is really tough at a human level. And we're going through massive change. And, you know, we're not going to get it right all the time. And I don't expect him to. But I think he will in the end. And I did put a tweet out. It was a bit of a cheeky one. But I put a tweet out earlier this week saying, if this board don't bottle it, if this board don't bottle it, I think this bloke can win the lot. And that's how much I'm backing him. I think we can win it. But it takes guts and bottle to see the project through. And that's not on Crackers or Patrick or Ricky or Lee or anyone else. That's on the board. And that's what will happen. Yeah. Typically in the past, they pull the rug from under it. They do. And that's what it is. But if they don't bottle it, and they didn't against Poch, they didn't. They backed him, and look where we went. Now, we didn't go over the line with Poch. But I do think, Rick, sorry to get your juices flowing here, fella, but I do think
Give me a cup. Any cup.
I know. I do think this guy's got it to get us over the line. I do think that. So let's
say it back up. Box Park at Wembley, here we come. Last one on Spurs Live audience. Mate, we'll see you there.
Mate, live audience, mate. Know about Box Park. We're going to Bilbao in the UEFA Cup final. Let's go, baby.
A Crackers shit quiz to 7,000-8,000. Wouldn't that be incredible, Crackers? I tell you what, they're waiting for it, Cracks. They're waiting for you. They're waiting.
Listen, like I've told you before, Rick, there's only one of us in this room that's actually hosted on the stage at Box Park. Thank you very much.
I'll get back in my box now and be quiet.
And off to Bilbao. Imagine going to Spain. How lovely must that be?
Wouldn't that be lovely? You boys, you don't get over there.
We're doing a little road trip over there, Crackers. A little road trip, me and Crackers.
I'd love to go to Spain. The only trouble is that I get to play a blanker and then I run out of road. I've got to go and nick a boat, ain't I, to get over to the peninsula.
Oh, you know what? I mean, on this point, I want to bring in some of Ange's comments here as we look to close. You know, again, it is a day where, you know, we've been critical at times of the manager. It's only right when you have a result like that, a performance like that, Ange gets the plaudits. He said the lads were outstanding. I thought we showed real belief and conviction in our football, and we're really aggressive in everything. Aggressive with the ball, without the ball, really positive in our intent, and fantastic all-round play. He was asked the question, does that performance make you come away from the game and wonder how you only score 3 goals? And he said, look, no, sometimes it's just the nature of football. We had some fantastic chances that we probably should have put away. But the pleasing thing for me was that we just kept going. I got a real sense the players weren't dwelling on it. They were just focused. Okay, let's go again and grab another one. I think that's when it can become slightly frustrating, or if we're kind of dwelling on or second guessing ourselves. I think we had a little bit of, in that point, belief and momentum over at 1-0 that we can go on and score more goals. And it just felt like with every missed chance, we were going to get more. Whereas there was a real calmness about the lads that, okay, we'll miss one, but let's go again and create another one. He was asked if he feels that he's turned the corner in terms of the improvement that he's been waiting for in the final third. And said, yeah, definitely. I mean, it helps that obviously Dom's overcoming of crisis in 180 minutes. Now he's back to some sort of fitness and he's in the line well as Brennan shows as a whole. And that's obviously in a sarcastic way. But in general, I think, like I said, it just felt that we kept on playing our football. We kept playing our way. And the feeling was, okay, we missed one, but we'll go and get another. Whereas, you know, probably the last 3 games this week, we just had a real calmness about the way we played. Ange was asked, since the first 10 games of last season, the away record hasn't been great, and this is the first time you've won away at one of the big 6 rivals. Do you feel like that's a significant step forward? Ange said, no, not really. I know people are still not convinced, but like I said, I just keep relying on the kind of football you want to play, and we're not affected by that too much, or the disruption. I still think home or away, we're a really, really good football team. To follow that question up, that question came and it was asked, you say people are still not convinced, but don't you think that's a statement win and the way you play with that scoreline at Old Trafford? And said, I've got no idea, mate. I'm befuddled by the whole process. I guess people don't see what I see, which is fair enough. I mean, everyone's got their own sort of view on things. But like I said, I don't think there's been a Premier League game this year. I mean, if you really watched us, and I suspect a lot of people don't watch us, where we've been outplayed or we've looked all at sea. It's just that we haven't killed off games like we should have done. Now we've got Dom in the team. He's finding some fitness and form, as well as Brennan. But even guys like Madders now and Decky are really giving us some real edge in that front third. But for us, nothing changes. We've got to keep doing what we're doing. There's still a lot of improvement to do in many areas. But the good thing about this group is they want to keep on improving. And that's lovely words there, Pat, if I can come over to you as we're looking to close this one, is that the key thing will be now, Pat, we've had a great win away at Old Trafford. This is not to do it down. We now need to not see heads drop and take this win as a momentum gainer and really push forward. I think that's why some fans aren't getting carried away. And I think also with Ange's comments about maybe some not being convinced, maybe that benefits him by saying that because he knows that there is that little bit of edge there, that little bit of needle, where if he can now go on a run, and we're 4 unbeaten at the moment, I think when you look back at his tenure so far, we're probably, I think, joint record for his best wins in a row so far as a Spurs manager. Is it now a case, Pat, for you? You want to see now a run put together by Tottenham where we can really, truly show this is a consistent team and this team can really challenge in the Cups and really push on the league now?
Definitely. And I love that you're saying that. Don't get carried away. Of course, it's a fantastic result, but let's park this one and then concentrate on the next 2 games. Another big, European game. It's a league format now, isn't it? So every win is important, but to also get as many goals as possible, keep a clean sheet. So, you're pushed up that league. It's not done in group format. It's a whole league table. We need to finish in that top 8 so we don't have more games and obviously go straight into the knockout stages. And then in the Premier League, it's another big game, another test. We need to obviously enjoy what happened tonight or today, but then forget about that and focus on the team at hand, which will be Brighton. And they'll probably give us a tougher test than United did today. But if we can start on the front foot, assert ourselves and not worry about them, but play our own game, we should be okay. But I do like what he said. He understands that there's been criticism. He understands that some parts of the fan base have been calling for his head or wanting to see more, because some of the stats, when you look at them from the turn of this year, have been a bit damning, especially away from home. And he's now, hopefully we can start putting that right. Go on a nice little run, let people count us out. When I looked at a lot of the pundits, top 4 and top 6s at the beginning of the season, we went in them. And even after the transfer window closed, we went in them. Even Opta, they did this Opta stats, prediction of the league, and we were 7th or 8th.
I'm happy with that. I mean, let players down, Pat.
Yeah, let them do that. But we just need to go on a run, keep our feet on the ground, and just do what we need to do. I see Lee, for everyone listening audio, McQueen's pointing to the number 3. So he's saying we're going to finish 3rd in the table. I'll take that all day long.
Boys, you know that, team. You know that.
3rd in the Europa League. I don't mind finishing out of the top 4 if we win the Europa League, because that will bring us a trophy and also, put us back in the Champions League. But we need to win something this year and ideally get Champions League football. We could do that by just winning Europa. It does both of them. And if we can continue playing like this, then, sky's the limit. But I'm not going to get carried away yet, because every game's a different game and every game's but I do love the fact that we just put United to the sword, man.
Absolutely.
No messing about, no if, buts and maybes. Could have been more, should have been more, but you'll take a 3-0 away from home in a clean sheet every day of the week. 100%.
Totally agree. I totally agree on that point. And look, as we look to close here, Andrew's asked what it's like to having Micky van der Ven, who could be mopping up at the back in one moment and then the next point racing forward at the other and setting up a goal. And he went, look, he's an outstanding player. Again, I think we brought some decent footballers to the club. He's another one. And Micky has been absolutely phenomenal for the football club. And I think that's one we can all say there's a definite feeling that we've got an amazing player there and one we hope we can hold on to. And again, it is about progression. And we talk about progression. I think we've been looking at the likes of Kulu and Maddison. Are they going to find their best positions in the team? Are they going to be progressive in this second season? Anderson, I think they're both working really well. Both intelligent footballers. The way we play suits their characteristics because Maddison does so much damage and Decky does so much damage with his running. It's a good balance for us in that attacking third because we knew the main threat for Manchester United is always transition. You know, they're pretty lethal with the front guys they've got, but we really want to make sure we lock them in. And that was the fullbacks and Madders and Decky be really disciplined in our football. They're both going to be really well and so important for the rest of the season for us. He was asked finally about Sonny and where we are in terms of Sonny's fitness. Of course, for those that missed it, Sonny, of course, not part of the matchday squad today. Left out, unfortunately, with a hamstring injury, which is why Sonny was not part of the travelling squad to Manchester. And said, we'll see. Obviously, it was a quick turnaround in terms of this game. So we'll assess it when we go back to London and we'll see how it is. And it's actually lovely to win at Old Trafford. We've got not all of our players available to us because it just shows you we have got players now further than just an 11, which is lovely. Guys, it has been an amazing show. Nearly over 6,000 of you have watched this live. We can't thank you enough for all your support. Big games to come against Brighton. But look, I want to say this again and make this point. We don't enjoy wins enough sometimes in football as Spurs fans. And I want to make this point. It's not to criticise anyone or do anybody down, but if you can't, just go away after a win like this. Go and watch Match of the Day. Go and watch the Super Cup. Go and watch the rerun. Because let me tell you something. All the national media right now, they ain't talking about Spurs. They're talking about Man United. So look, go and enjoy channels like this that are pure Spurs at heart, that love this football club, that have got fans that travel week in, week out, up and down the country, home and away, that give their life to this club for days like this, Macca. Because I know, like I say, we've had tough games over the last 3-4 years, but days like today, and please God, there's bigger games to come as well, makes it all worth it. Right, Macca, I want to finish on that point. Really important we do. Got to enjoy games like this.
100%, mate. I mean, I couldn't have said it better myself, mate. So you've taken if you got my blue book there, Rick, you reading them. Look, I mean, look, I totally agree. And the reality of the situation is that yeah, we've got to go again, and yeah, Brighton might be saying different, but let's worry about Brighton when Brighton comes around. We don't have to prepare for Brighton. We're fans, for crying out loud. We don't have to go and do training for them and focus on them. Let the players do that. That's what they do. We could just dream. That's what Ange wants us to do. And by the way, just talking about Brighton, they're not very good. I'm telling you, I've had a look into them. Right?
Too early, Becca. Don't do this now. Let's enjoy this one first. Let's not think about Brighton.
They've just got absolutely taken apart by Chelsea, right? Or Cole Palmer. They couldn't beat Forest. They couldn't beat Ipswich, and they couldn't beat. They couldn't beat Arsenal. They couldn't beat Arsenal with 10 men. And not being funny, they're on the decline, mate. We're going to go there and absolutely ripping them a new one. Nice
in the words of Ricky Gervais, can someone shut him up?
Cut him off now. Cut him off now.
Cut Desmond.
Set his NordVPN to like Mars or something. Cut his Wi-Fi off.
Someone take the Duracell batteries out quick.
That famous one when John, one of our own from Lily White Rose, on he was like, Everton are rubbish. We're going to absolutely spank them. We always beat Everton and we lost.
This is why I say let's not go overboard. Let's save Brighton for the Brighton preview. Let's enjoy this one.
Yeah, exactly.
Please don't come and clip us for that. Macca will be. Listen, we're all getting excited. We're all getting carried away.
Lee McQueen on X. What's the hell are you lot? I need more followers. You know what I mean? Come and bookmark me. I told you that Ange will win the lot. Go and have a look at the tweet. I told you bookmark it. I've had 20 people bookmark it, I think, Rick, just to put it back in my face. When he gets sacked, when the ball bottle it and he gets sacked, people can just shove it in my face. I don't care. Bookmark what you like.
Hang it in the Louvre. Hang it in
the Louvre. Come on. Quick reminder, we forgot to mention it earlier. You know, we're delighted to be sponsored by NordVPN. NordVPN controls the result against Brighton. So for all those that are watching this show, make sure you go and get your NordVPN device right now. It's a 2-year plan, 4 extra months for free. No risk of Nord's 30-day back money guarantee. You're going to need that as you go around the world. Spurs home and away. I want to say a massive thank you to our A team. Yes, Lee is back. If anyone's noticed, Lee's been back. He's been away for 4 weeks, which is why we had to roll him back in there before he gives us a Brighton prediction. God help us. Patty, always a pleasure. Check him out. Chatty Patty on YouTube. Pat, thank you so much. And I'm sure you'll say, mate, lovely to come on here after a win like that and in style. Right, Patty?
Oh, loved it. Yeah, I'm getting a bit of heat because I said that I hate Timo Werner on Twitter. Obviously, I didn't mean it in that sense, but I don't know, man. I might give Twitter and even podcasting a break because I just think that people just too it's getting on my nerves how sensitive people are. You can't say anything these days. I'm getting called negative. I'm getting called.
No,
Yeah, I mean,
he's shit. When I say stuff, I'm called negative. I'm called this. I'm getting told to have a day. I can't believe it. Like, I can't say anything these days. You can't say anything that's quote unquote against.
Patty,
like,
you know, Patty, as long as Patty, you know, as soon as you put your head above the parapet, as soon as you put your head above the parapet, unfortunately, we're all in this position where we have set the good with the bad.
You can't say anything these days. Like, I think people on here just want me to be ultra toxic positive and everything's amazing. Even like you can win 3-0 and someone can still not have a good game. Like, I don't understand how people can't differentiate. One isn't exclusive of the other. I just don't. I don't know. Maybe this is the wrong thing for me because you can't say what you want anymore, and it's just like people just want to hear. You can get spanked 5-0, and people will just want you to be positive. It's really weird. It's really weird.
If you have to justify why Timo Werner wasn't that very good, is no slight on you. Unfortunately, just the nature of the performance. But
I don't know. Like, did they watch the same game that we watched? Like, he missed about 4 clean-cut chances. He also did the wrong thing in the final third twice. But I'm told that I have a day off and I'm being negative because I spoke about it. It's really, I don't know. I don't know what's
don't let it get you down. We've had a great performance and a great result.
Twitter's a cesspit team. You know that. You know the fun that happens on the cesspit, mate. Don't let it affect you, man. Don't let it get
you down. We love you on here. You're amazing. And the reality is, he missed a couple of chances, but Solanke bagged the third, and it's all forgotten because Spurs win the game. It's a very different show if we don't get the result. So, Patty, we love you. Stay strong. Keep the love, my man. We love you. You know we do.
Allegedly, it's a biased agenda because I said that Timo Werner isn't good. Allegedly, it's a biased agenda. That's what I just see in the comments.
Okay, I'm doubling down on it, team. I'm doubling down on it. Timo Werner today, shit.
Can we just enjoy the win? We're going to enjoy the win. Listen, Patty, thank you so much.
I love you, Werner, really.
Listen. At Dave Bunch of Numbers has had something to say to you. When is at Dave Bunch of Numbers after his name ever going to have any bearing on your life when you're ever going to meet him or anything? He's not going to pay your bills. He's not a friend. He's not family. It's for the birds. All these opinions are for the birds. You listen to your like close friends, your family, and then everything else is just fluff and nonsense. The whole lot of it.
Absolutely. Amen. Lovely words there, Cracks.
Lovely words, man.
Thank you so much. Like I say, loads of evenings going with Crackers right now. Please go and check him out. That audio coverage is bringing you all the latest dates for your diary in October. Please check him out, Cracks. Thank you so much. We love you.
Thank you. Rick, just before I go, I just wanted to say a little big up to Christian Eriksen, because there's a man that is lucky to even be stood up, let alone playing football, and with everything that went on, and he was one of our own once. So for everything he went through, to see him still playing football actually brought a little bit of joy to my heart today. I know he plays for them, but you know, there's things that are a lot bigger than football, and for him to even just be with us is something. To still be playing football. Like, well done, Christian Eriksen. Well done, all the medical team that helped him out. And it was lovely to see him get on the pitch today and still be playing, still have a career. So, good stuff. Big up, Christian Eriksen.
Lovely words, lovely words. Macca, I mean, I'm not saying you bottled the last 4 weeks. I know you've been mega busy, mate. I wouldn't call you bottling what's been a difficult period. But suddenly you come back and we go all the way at Old Trafford. What's going on there? What's happened now?
Start putting Macca and bottle in the same sentence, mate. I have to have words with you after the show, sunshine. Do not worry about it.
It's like, can you believe it? One of them went 3-0. It's a HR complaint to finish it. You can't make
mate. HR. Get HR involved. No, look, really good, mate. Great to be back. You know, I got obviously go to the home games. I got in at 1 a.m. the other day on the Europa League, but I think I'm with you. I think I'm with you this week again for the Europa. So hopefully we get another good win. And like brilliant. Look, I echo everything you said. Enjoy. Don't let Dave 158275 or whatever talk about Pat, man. You've got to just big up, man. We got 3-0 win at United. Absolutely.
Not at Dave 1825. I blocked him ages ago, Macca. I hate him. What a horrible man he is. Honestly, he came at me like you wouldn't believe. Honestly, He said I was fat, I stink. He ate. Oh, honestly, I've had to block him at day
Right.
1825. Horrible man.
On that note, we're going to let you go away, watch Master J, watch the super highlights. Don't watch the coverage on the broadcasting at the moment because it's nothing to do with Spurs. We love you. Keep voting for us at Last One on Spurs for the content awards. We're going to all be there to see, hopefully, us lift the trophy in the stadium. Yes, it might happen. And look, there's loads of love going to Pat right now. Please send him all your love. He knows we love him. He's a big, big part of a show that we love seeing him on here. Pat, we love you. Keep strong. And like I say, we'll divulge those Timo Werner haters somewhere else because they'll probably miss the target anyway. From Macca, from Crackers, from Patty, from me. We've been the Last Word on Spurs. Keep safe, keep well. And as always, come on, you Spurs!